Hello and welcome back. So we're finally here. We're gonna actually take the pick guard off first just to see what kind of route do we have inside of it. So let's have a look. Just gotta get the right bit. Gotta find the right size. I think this might work. Yeah, that should work. One recommendation, when you're always working with screws, it's always a good idea to keep one of these around. This is kind of like a ice maker tray sort of deal. So this is perfect for me to put the screws in that way. You ready? And okay, so we pretty much okay. So I don't know if your camera can catch that very well. Okay, so the plan is that I'm gonna absolutely have to route a wider hole here, a wider hole here. I'm gonna go ahead and install the other pick guard and see how that works out. So let's have a look. One thing you have to know about these DIY packages that you get or do-it-yourself kits for a guitar is that if you buy extra parts, it's very likely that some of the parts are not gonna fit. So be aware of that. Anywho, the pick guard, I managed to get it fitted to where I need it to go. Hopefully that'll give me good intonation. Let's hope it gives me good intonation. Otherwise, this project is not going to be a success. Anywho, I went ahead and marked where the new holes are going to go for this pick guard. I made sure that the pick guard outline the neck pocket as best as possible. I think that the neck will probably fit in once I got the holes in and screw it in. As you can see, I don't know if I can get it to focus, but I don't know if you can see that very well, but I actually ended up sticking match sticks into the old holes to cover them up, and went back and sanded over them. So I think that'll make the job a lot easier. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because the pick guard is going to go right on top of it. I don't intend on not putting a pick guard, so. But anyway, I think the job came out pretty clean nonetheless. So now the next step is to go back and drill the holes. So I'm gonna get that done right now. So as you can see, I was able to put it all together. A couple of things. First of all, the pick guard is already securely in its place. I had to take one of these files. Let me see if I can get it. I had to take one of these files and take off a little bit off the neck pocket because the neck wasn't quite fitting. I try to make sure that it's nice and centered, but eventually I took enough of it out that we have a neck that now fits completely flush. So I think that's a big step. The other thing that I did, took off a little bit from the sides because if you remember correctly, the bridge wasn't quite fitting in there. So I was able to shave off a little bit of the edge. Wish I would have done a better job, but I think it does the trick and you can't really tell that much. I got it to fit. Okay. We also have the bridge centered where it needs to be centered. So then the next step would be to route out the holes for the humbuckers. Okay. It looks like everything is running in its place. I even took out the control plate, and to my surprise, pretty much everything fit to where the pickguard is. As you can see that. That's pretty much flush there. So we're a step closer now. I guess the next step will be to route out the holes for the cavity, for the humbuckers, and possibly next time we will start with the sanding of the belly cut. So let's get to it. So here's where we're at with the Telecaster. I got this template. It's just a piece of paper, and I actually got the size of the humbucker that I'm going to use and kind of made an outline of it. So we have basically more or less how our holes, I don't know if you can see that, but I think that's how our holes are going to be. You can see that. I also made the one for the bridge. So hopefully, once I get it routed out, we have enough room for both our humbuckers. So let's see how that turns out. So as you can see, I got my rig set up. I'm gonna go over the router with it. Luckily there's already holes in it, so it won't be too hard to go over it with the router. So without further ado, let's do this. So we've done it. It wasn't too hard actually. See if you can see that. This hole probably looks the ugliest because it was already routed out for one of those slanted single coils, but I had to modify it. Now we have enough space for the humbucker. We also got the top. Now the question is, do they fit? Well, I mounted this old pickup that I had laying around, and from the looks of it, it's a perfect fit. Okay, as far as the bridge is concerned, we have that. It should be a good fit. We're definitely gonna have to check that bridge humbucker, so let's have a look. So as you can see, it's a good fit. I just have the dummy humbucker in there. If I can align the holes just quite right. And there you go. So I would say this router business was a success. Thank God. Okay, so what is next? Well, what's next is we're gonna have to work on that belly cut probably the next couple of days. The wiring has already been made, put together for this guitar. So it's just a matter of making a few modifications with the control plate. And then in a couple of days, we'll talk a little bit about painting it. I have a couple of, this is definitely gonna be stained. I'm not gonna put any aerosol cans to it. I just think the flame here has got me a little bit convinced, and I think it would look pretty nice if I stained it rather than painted it. Plus I don't want to go through the business of having to clean all this binding up. So where we're at right now is definitely gonna be putting in the electronics just to make sure that everything fits right. Probably making the holes for the bridge, although I'm a little worried about doing it right this minute, because if you've noticed, this bridge is one of those through the body for the string. So we're gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna put those here, but I can't do that until I got the intonation. But if I could see where the string is gonna line up right. Anyways, there's a lot to do still, but one of the biggest battles that I had was definitely routing out these cavities, because I didn't quite have the tools for it, but luckily now it's been done, and now it's just a matter of putting in a few more modifications. This is Joel from DIY signing off, and thank you for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed the video.